Welcome back to Rock Your Best Vocals, where your best keeps getting better. My name is Jim Chandler, a professional singer for over 30 years and a professional vocal coach for over 20 years. So you've probably heard about this if you're a Journey fan or an Arnel fan. You've probably heard about his epic fail and why there's a rift going on between Neil Sean, the guitarist of Journey, and Avenged Sevenfold. He was kind of blaming it on them, blah, blah, blah. Rockfeed did a video on that. If you want to know a little bit more about that, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to, throughout all of the songs, I'm going to play like the bad bits, probably the worst bits from the live performance. Then I'm going to get into what I think may have been going on as a professional singer. Then I'm going to point out why this is great, not only for me to feel better about myself, because mistakes, and like I'm no stranger to mistakes, like, and if you're a professional singer, I'm sure you feel the same way, but why it's also really good for you if you are a singer learning to sing and you want to sing professionally. This is something that we'll all go through at some stage in our career. It's like when I first started riding a motorcycle on the street, there was a guy that told me there's two types of motorcycle riders, ones that have had a crash and ones that are going to crash. So this is our time to analyze this and then look at what we can learn from this, possibly, if anything, and why it's really good for everybody to see this. Why this is just like, I mean, for me, this is very inspiring. It's very amazing. If you don't know, Arnel put something out, like he's sorry for the show, like, reply yes if you want me to quit, or no if you don't want me to quit, whatever. So he got like a bunch of people saying, no, don't quit. So it's a testament to the fact that it didn't really bother anybody as much as it bothered him. Not my intention to take a stab at someone, like I am a professional singer. This is more coming from empathy with him and kind of something to try and help people who are watching this who want to sing professionally to kind of understand what they may be going through eventually at some stage in their career, because I've gone through a lot of what he's gone through on here. So anyway, the first part here, the very beginning of the show, it looks like he's kind of, to me, it looks like he is struggling with his air. Play that here and you can see here what I'm talking about. You see he's kind of dipping down, like trying to take that breath. And this could be for so many reasons. It could be that, he could have physically been under some kind of, maybe he had a cold or something like that, or whatever. Like he's just low on breath. I know this from having the virus, right? The pandemic virus really bad. I struggled for a long time trying to get air back in my lungs, but it really debilitates your ability to breathe. The other thing is possibly in Rio, it may have been humid. I'm guessing that, because if it's humid, that air is very hard to take in. It's thick. It's very you're can be struggling for breath. And if you know that, if you go into a humid environment, like I grew up in Ohio, where it's like, it would literally be like, I don't know, 80% humidity. It's like walking into a steam room. You walk outside. That's my guess of what was going on with him, and possibly the whole night, but there's other things involved as well. Other technical issues I'm going to get into here in just a second. A lot of what I'm going to talk about in this video here, what I've been talking about, is support. And if you don't understand support, or you want to know everything there is to know about support, I've got a free course down below. Click the link down below for singing support secrets. So that was Be Good to Yourself. Now we're going to look at Stone in Love. Okay, so you can see again, it seems like he's kind of summer night, calling. He's not singing that all in one line, but it's not all bad. This next part here is where he just pulls off a really great scream. You could see where he is struggling to get that breath in there, but when he goes for this scream, check this out. Now, see, it's not all bad. That was pretty good, I think. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, this next part on Faithfully, this looks like where he's starting to, well, it's where he's definitely pointing out that he's having problems with his in-ear monitors. And this wasn't the first time. It looks like he was struggling with this all night, but let's watch. He's touching the monitors, his in-ear monitor, and then he's looked like he's calling, he's saying he can't, like he's saying he can't hear. I think it looked like that was like a T for a track. Could be, I don't know. They could probably, probably do have everything on track to some extent, because there are backing vocals and things like that that they may have just had on track. But it looked like he was doing this track up in the ear so he could hear it, so he could pitch himself. I'm just guessing that. But that, once you start to have trouble with a gig as a professional singer, mentally stuff starts to go downhill. You just feel, if you feel like just everything is going wrong, it's like you're just waiting for the next thing to go wrong. And that's a bad place to be, because then you're kind of just the expectation. Okay, and this is getting to be a little bit esoteric, but your expectation has a lot to do with how you're going to actually perform. Now, I'm just saying this from my own personal perspective and my own experience. Once you start to go downhill and you have that expectation that the rest of that something that you're not going to hit a note, or you're going to have problem after problem or whatever, you're not going to be, if you start focusing on I can't breathe, and then you're struggling for breath, you're kind of expecting to be like that, the rest of the night. So it's just a downward spiral. And this is a little bit from Open Arms. It looks like, again, he's struggling with his in-ear monitors. You can see him almost like he's trying to shove it in there so he can hear himself a bit more. It looked like he was struggling with his in-ear monitor a lot through the night, which is a bummer, because it looked like earlier he was like calling for help for the in-ear monitors to be turned up, something in the in-ear monitors to be turned up, and it just looks like they just didn't satisfy that request for it. Was it's very frustrating as a singer when you're looking for something more in the monitor, or something just doesn't sound right. Again, it's like that downward spiral. Okay, now here on Lovin' Touchin', he's struggling a bit here again. So he seems to be struggling with that arrogant lovin'. So he's like, it just seems like he's just constantly just struggling, gasping for air. Now he's 57 years old, which is like amazing, because me at 53 doing a gig. Now I perform for 2 hours, singing and dancing around. I perform a 2-hour gig. This is an hour gig, but he has a lot more ground to cover. These songs are like all like high register songs, which like he's no stranger to. He's like, he has an incredible voice. Like, I've listened to some other live gigs of him, and he just tears it up. He's just incredible. So to prove to you that he can sing, like he tears it up in this later part of the same song. Listen to this. Pretty badass, you got to admit. 57 years old, tearing up like a lot of incredible. I'm pointing out the worst bits in here now. And overall, I'm just going to say, like, the gig is incredible overall. I encourage you to watch that, especially if you're a Journey fan. I would encourage you to go and watch that. The link is down below. So now here's a little part from Wheel in the Sky. He's struggling. He ripped the earpiece. Sometimes when you can't hear in the earpiece, you just feel like, okay, I'm just going to like pull it out so you could hear what was coming out of the monitors. Now it sounded like he went a little bit off pitch anyway. He was like a little bit. He was kind of like he was wandering a little bit there, but I'm pointing out the worst bits now. This is the worst bits of a great gig. But later on in that song, this is where he really tears it up. Check this out. You can see him really leaning back into that support. You see a lot of singers will lean back into that support because it helps. It helps with that pressure, the abdominal pressure. It helps with that kind of feeling of like, you know, doing a crunch or a sit-up or thing like that. If you're watching this and you want to understand a little bit more about singing support and how Arnel is using his support and how Steve Perry and all the other great singers use support, click the link down below for Singing Support Secrets. Enough of the sales pitch. Let's go. And this next part is actually the drummer singing this. So it's not Arnel, but it's the drummer singing this. But I want to point out the fact that it's really cool that the drummer is actually singing live. Right there. You hear that, him clearing his throat. And you can hear that totally live. It's great. I think that's great to hear people singing live, and the fact that Arnel is singing this whole gig live is a testament to the fact that, you know, in this day and age where it's so easy to just mime your way through a gig because the technology's there, nobody really cares for the most part, like if people are miming. But when you do see a singer like sing and perform live and they make the odd mistakes, it warms the heart. It makes you think, I'm getting my money's worth, you know? I mean, for me anyway, it makes me think like I'm getting my money's worth for this. Like he's actually like doing the work. He's not phoning it in, or like, you know, some people can do. Okay, so this next little bit is from a song called Separate Ways with Arnel having a bad night, sang the wrong lyrics. So it just like it's I think is that downward spiral thing. He was just like, oh man, he just wasn't in the game. His head wasn't in the game. He was having a bad night vocally, which causes you to just like, your mind just like goes somewhere else. It goes, please take me away from this. And then that could be why he messed up the lyrics. So it was the line was supposed to be, to survive the tide, love divides. But he said the second the second part of that pre-chorus before, I think he said, goodbye, take care, my love, miss you, love, over the other guys singing the correct line. So downward spiral, I'm guessing. It sounded a little bit like at the beginning of that, like he was kind of struggling with that. Right there. If we can't go on. He kind of pulled back a little bit. So he was like, if we can't go on. You know, it might have been just like he wasn't feeling comfortable to hit that with the full power of his voice. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just guessing through a lot of this stuff, but having been in that situation. And then later on in the same song, he goes quite sharp on this part. So it should have been, no, and then, no. But I think I'm not really sure why he did that. It seems like he started to kind of go sharp and then kind of overcompensate to raise it up. Again, I'm guessing because it just kind of just sounds a bit strange how he went. So you can hear kind of he was a little bit wobbly on that first part of it, which may have been why he did that. You hear that? No, he was a little shaky. It wasn't like vibrato. It just sounded like his support was shaky on it, so he went a little bit sharp on it. I'm like, again, I'm just guessing, but guessing from experience. So, and the next bit is the infamous "Don't Stop Believin'." This is where he did his epic fail. Okay, I'm gonna just say that, but like, listen to this incredible run. Anyway, yeah. That rasp. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so this next part he goes a bit flat on this part here. Now it's, you're gonna watch and probably cringe, but like, I'm cringing with him. I'm feeling like that empathy of like, oh man, I've been there. And it's just not really sure why he extended that out, because he wasn't still on pitch. It was just, I don't know if it, like the in-ear monitor thing, I don't really know, but it just sounded to me like he was struggling and not on pitch there, and I don't know why he kind of held it out there. But let's go on to the next part here. Later on in the song, "Don't Stop Believin'," he goes flat and then sharp. He's just struggling to find the pitch of this high part. Just trying to figure out what's going on. He was just struggling. I think a lot of it could do with that air. He's just like not getting the air. He's not feeling that support properly through the note, so he can't hit it and stay on pitch with it. I'm not really sure, but you may have seen this part of "Don't Stop Believin' when he's in the crowd, and it's almost like at the end he was like, oh God, like, God help me, somebody please stop this. And he's flat on that part. It's like he lost it, and then he was like flat. He was flat, and then he lost it, and then went up for the higher note, which still didn't hit exactly. But so you would think that was going to be their last song. That was like their epic song. That's like the one you finish with. But for some reason, they go on to play "Any Way You Want It." It's that song. I always find it a little bit difficult because the way it just cuts in. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. So it just comes right in. It's really like boom, right in your face. But like, again, like I don't know why they did that one as their last song. But now that we pointed out all the points that I think are pretty much the worst bits, I would encourage you, like I said, to go and watch that full video, because it's a great concert. Like Arnel does a really good job overall. So if you like Journey, you like Arnel, that's definitely like something you should watch. Like I really enjoyed watching through the whole thing. But what I'm going to point out is that, like I said, Arnel kind of came away from it. Everyone was like, no, it's a great gig, man. Don't quit. Like, just don't be silly like that. But I'd say he walked away thinking it was much worse than everyone else thought it was. And as a singer, you are often going to be your worst critic. I know I am. I will walk away from gigs saying that was the worst gig ever. I'm never singing again. And people are like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the problem? Like, or if you even record yourself, listen back and go, well, hey, it wasn't that bad. Don't be so critical of yourself. Like, that's what I would just say is like, record yourself and listen back. Listen, can I improve? Whatever. Yes. And then do so. But don't be overcritical, because like, here is what it sounds like when you're in the actual crowd. So with the crowd singing along with it, you couldn't tell if that was just somebody in the crowd going off pitch. That's why I think this is good for us to see. Arnel is an absolute hero for being who he is and allowing Journey to carry on with that legacy and let people see this band live, because he does sing incredibly well and he sings a lot like Steve Perry. So like, if I was going to see this, I would just feel almost like that I was seeing Journal that I was seeing Journey like back in the day, when Steve Perry was singing for him. He's such a great singer. Like, I think he's a hero. Let me know what you think in the comments below about the show, about these mistakes. Is it a big problem? Let me show some support for Arnel. And I know on his Twitter, go on his account and just say, no, you don't want him to quit, because like, he's a legend. We want him to keep going. 57 years old singing like this, man. Arnel, you are my hero. And thank you for watching. Arnel, thank you for singing. Rock your best vocals where your best keeps getting better. See you on the next one.